the street boy of London. Chapter 1. Life on the Streets. Tom was a small boy with messy brown hair and big green eyes. He lived on the streets of London in the year 1500. Tom was only 10 years old, but he had no home and no family. Every day, Tom walked the busy streets of London. The city was big and dirty. There were many tall buildings made of wood. The streets were narrow and full of people, horses, and carts. Tom wore old, dirty clothes. He had no shoes, so his feet were always cold and dirty. He was often hungry. Sometimes, kind people gave him food. Other times, he had to look for food in the garbage. At night, Tom slept in alleys or under bridges. He used old sacks to keep warm. It was a hard life, but Tom was brave and clever. Chapter 2. A Day in Tom's Life. One morning, Tom woke up early. He was very hungry. He walked to the market to look for food. The market was busy and noisy. There were many stalls selling fruits, vegetables, and bread. Tom could smell fresh bread, but he had no money to buy it. Tom saw a man drop an apple. Quick as a cat, Tom picked it up and ran away. He hid in an alley and ate the apple. It was sweet and juicy. Tom wished he could have more. Later, Tom went to the River Thames. He liked to watch the big ships. Sometimes, sailors gave him food or told him stories about faraway places. Tom dreamed of sailing on a big ship one day. Chapter 3. The Kind Baker. One day, Tom was walking past a bakery. The smell of fresh bread made his stomach growl. He stopped to look at the delicious loaves in the window. The baker, a fat man with a kind face, saw Tom. He came out of the shop. "Hello, boy," he said. "Are you hungry?" Tom was scared. He thought the baker might be angry at him for looking. But the baker smiled and gave Tom a small loaf of bread. "Thank you, sir," Tom said. He ate the bread quickly. It was the best thing he had ever tasted. "Come back tomorrow," the baker said. "I can use some help in my shop." Tom was happy. Maybe he could earn some food by working for the baker. Chapter 4. Working at the bakery. The next day, Tom went to the bakery early. The baker gave him a broom and showed him how to sweep the floor. Tom worked hard. He swept the floor, carried bags of flour, and helped the baker make bread. The work was hard, but Tom was happy. At the end of the day, the baker gave him a loaf of bread and a few coins. "You're a good worker, Tom," the baker said. "Come back tomorrow if you want." Tom left the bakery with a full stomach and a smile on his face. For the first time in a long time, he felt hope. Chapter 5. A New Friend. Tom went to work at the bakery every day. He liked the work and he liked talking to the baker, but he was still lonely. He had no friends his own age. One day, a girl came into the bakery. She had red hair and freckles. Her name was Sarah. She bought a loaf of bread and smiled at Tom. The next day, Sarah came back. She talked to Tom while he swept the floor. Tom was shy at first, but soon they were talking and laughing. Sarah lived nearby with her family. She told Tom about her life and her school. Tom told Sarah about life on the streets. Sarah felt sad for Tom, but she liked his bravery and his funny stories. Chapter 6. A Turn of Luck. One day, a rich man came to the bakery. He wore fine clothes and had a big ring on his finger. The man bought some bread and watched Tom work. "Boy," the man said, "what's your name?" "Tom, sir," Tom replied. "Do you have a family, Tom?" the man asked. Tom shook his head. "No, sir. I live on the streets." The man looked sad. Then he smiled. "I need a helper in my big house," he said. "Would you like to come work for me? You'll have food, clothes, and a warm bed." Tom couldn't believe his ears. He looked at the baker, who nodded and smiled. "Yes, sir," Tom said. "I would like that very much." Chapter 7. A New Life. The rich man's name was Mr. Johnson. He took Tom to his big house. Tom had never seen such a beautiful place. There were soft carpets, big paintings, and many rooms. Mr. Johnson gave Tom new clothes and shoes. Tom had his own small room with a warm bed. He ate good food every day. He was so happy. Tom worked hard in Mr. Johnson's house. He helped in the kitchen, cleaned the rooms, and ran errands. Mr. Johnson was kind and taught Tom how to read and write. Tom still visited the bakery. He talked to the kind baker and played with Sarah. But now he had a home and a better life. Chapter 8. Helping Others. As Tom grew older, he never forgot his life on the streets. He was grateful for the kindness of the baker and Mr. Johnson. He wanted to help other poor children like himself. When Tom was grown up, he opened a school for poor children. He taught them to read and write. He gave them food and clothes. He helped them find good jobs. Tom often thought about his life. He remembered the cold nights on the streets and the hunger in his stomach. But he also remembered the kindness of strangers and the hope he found. Now, Tom could give that hope to other children. He was no longer the poor street boy of London. He was a man who could make a difference in the world. Epilogue. A city changed. Many years passed. London changed a lot. The wooden buildings were replaced by brick ones. The streets were cleaner. There were fewer poor children on the streets. Tom was an old man now. He still ran his school for poor children. He still visited the old bakery, though the kind baker was long gone. One day, a small boy came to Tom's school. He had messy hair and big eyes, just like Tom when he was young. The boy was hungry and scared. Tom smiled at the boy. "Hello," he said. "What's your name?" "Jack," the boy said softly. "Welcome, Jack," Tom said. "You're safe here. Would you like some bread?" As Tom gave the boy some food, he felt happy. He remembered the kind baker who had helped him so many years ago. Now, Tom could do the same for others. Tom looked out the window at the big city of London. It had changed, but there were still people who needed help. And as long as there were kind people in the world, there was always hope.